Hello, all you happy people. Bitter Chick coming at you. Today, I want to talk about the homeless problem, the homeless situation. Um, so, earlier this month, there was a grand opening of a high rise apartment building called the Weingart Center Tower in Los Angeles. There are 47 one bedroom apartments, 228 studio apartments, and I forget how many floors it is, like 19 or something. It's a high rise, and and each of the units are worth about $600,000 each. It's a nice place. It has a gym. I think it has a pool. I can't remember, but it has a gym and it has, it's all the amenities that it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. Um, and it's new and it was funded by us, the taxpayers, with Prop HHH, I guess it was. And it's great news. LA has a really high homeless rate, and I'm hoping that this is gonna help at least what 47 plus 28 is 67, 65, 200, 265 people at least, because at least two people can live in one room, right? So that sounds good. It's a great idea, and I just want to talk a little bit about the the low income housing. Um, so if you qualify for low income housing, um, it's great. After they figure out what your expenses are and all that kind of stuff, you pay about 30% of your income. So if you're homeless and you have no income, then I'm assuming that you're not paying anything. Um, but let's say you're on a very fixed income, you're working at part time someplace, then you're only gonna have to pay 30% of your income for rent, which is great, is a deal. If you're low income, and I think the max for qualification is going to be about 45,000 a year or 50,000 a year. I have those written down someplace that's not in my hand. So, um, yeah. And here's the thing. No doubt this is going to get people off the streets, and I hope that's what happens. Okay, and will I be bitter because these people are living in nicer places than I am? A little bit. Um, the people people struggle, and if they can get themselves into a nice little home for to sleep and to you know live, I mean, let's do it, right? Um, but with low income housing, there is a process. And with this process, one of the things, the first thing you do is you fill out a long application, like 15 to 20 pages long. And maybe I'm exaggerating, but that's about how thick that application looks. It's pretty big, pretty extensive. You need to put everything on there. I mean, when you're applying for low income housing, it's a federally funded program, and you are going to be supplying everything about yourself. Your your bills, your bank statements, like you're going to have to show like 3 months of bank statements, and then when you finally move into a place, you have to like give them your electricity bills and your gas bills. And I mean, like, there's no secret unturned with federally funded housing, okay? Which totally fine, because you know, if you're going to get a federally funded housing, then we should know who we are federally funding, right? I think that's only fair. Um, so, anyways, so okay, yeah, here it is. My if you make you have to make more than less than 48,500 if you're a single person. For a family, there's you know a little bit more, um, but which is great. Still, it's you know it's still great. But here's some flaws with how I see the federally funding federal funding housing programs work. The big problem, in my opinion, is the locations. For example, I worked at an independent living apartment building in Pacoima, California, and the buildings in this area for low income housing, there's about 3+ years of waiting lists. Okay, so get you know keep that in mind, that if you want to move into a place that's nearby your home where you've lived your whole entire life, um, then you're probably going to have to be on a waiting list for about 3+ years. That's if you live here in the valley. Okay, I'm talking about the valley here. Um, you can. I know that in LA there are more available places to live with a less um, with the shorter wait list. Okay, but when you're over here in the valley, that's pretty much what you got. You got three to four or more years waiting list. Okay, this is for seniors. This is for senior low income housing. Um, Now, when I worked at this place in Pacoima, um, you know, I had people applying and getting housing who came from Los Angeles, like L.A., like Koreatown, L.A. Okay, not in the valley at all. So they would move over here from Los Angeles, um, and then the thing is that their lives are still in LA. Okay, they still shop in LA, they still see their doctors in LA. Their money supports everything in LA, not to mention that every time they go to these places, like the traffic um, to LA, they're like, you know, adding more to the traffic going to LA. So all their money is basically going to LA, right? Um, Meanwhile, our, you know, sassy abuelitas here on a fixed income who could really use their own place have to wait for 3+ years to get a place near their family um, in the city that she's really familiar with. So her options are move up to an hour or more away, or wait for many years to get something here near her family, close by, you know, where all her, you know, her doctors and her stores that she goes to, her friends and her family are all at. Um, so that to me is a problem. Okay, that's a problem I see with with housing, low income housing. Now, I'm assuming that this new apartment building is going to get mostly people from the city of LA, like, to get in there first. I don't know how that's going to work out. I don't know if they're starting with people who are homeless first, or just all applications are going to be accepted. I'm not sure. Um, I know that when we took applications for housing at this place, this particular location, if a person was homeless, they wouldn't get an apartment. I'm not sure if that was the 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 rule from the actual property company, management company, or if it was for um, if that was a federally funded requirement that they had to have a home. I'm not really sure what that was, but when we had homeless people apply for apartments, they did not get them. Okay, one of the reasons or excuses or whatever that I was told was that when they do interviews for apartments, um, applicants we have to do a home visit and we have to um, take pictures of where they're currently living. So since they didn't have a home, there was really nothing to take a picture of. Again, I don't know if this was the property management rules or if this is a rule for federal funded for the housing department. I don't know, but that's what it was. We did not have homeless people coming from the streets to um, living in our apartment building. So now, I mean, let's talk about um, your daily trip to the store, to just even taking a walk, or your kids walk to school, or going to the park. There's hardly a place where there are not homeless encampments set up. Okay, it's everywhere. It's everywhere you go. They're moving into all areas. Doesn't matter if it's a wealthy area or not. They're going there. Okay, they're setting up tents, setting up their house. We have this place down the street, and I guess it's a kind of a wide um, area. The way that the street is set up, I can't explain it. But anyways, there's a few people who set up their house there, and then once in a while somebody will come and have them take it down. So they do, and literally by the end of the day, they're setting back up again. Is it the same people? I don't know. It could be different people. Like, hey, they're gone. Let's go take this place. I mean, most likely it's the same people. They take it down and then they go back. Put it back up again, um, the same day. So I'm pretty sure people have like their rules. Like that's so and so spot. You can't take that spot. Um, so yeah. So they're everywhere. Um, and the the problem with um, this again, like you have homeless vets living on the street, you have people with mental health issues living on the street, and I haven't seen kids, but there are women living on the streets. Um, there, definitely are kids that are homeless that may be living in a shelter, maybe living out of a car, um, couch surfing. It's homelessness doesn't discriminate. Um, but again, the these housing they keep building up housing, and I'm not seeing any of the homeless people getting into those housing. And I think that the homeless people are mostly going into shelters and I mean, which is good too, but we just need to get them off the streets. Um, I would love to see our vets being housed before anybody else, um, but uh, that's not happening. Um, so according to the housing department, people are protected against discrimination when seeking housing. Um, there are seven protected um, people who are protected against discrimination. You cannot be discriminated against. See if I can remember this: race, ethnicity, um, gender identity. Well, that's not in all states, though. But it is in California, so that's good. Sexual identity, um, gender, disability. I think that's it. I don't know. I didn't count how many that were, but that was. But you know, you can't be discriminated against. Okay, so if you are going and applying for housing, and you know, the manager, you think that the manager is discriminating against you, you know, go to housing, and you can ask questions, and you know, you can fight to get into that place, but do you really want to be in that place? I don't know. I don't know. So, but here's what I think. I think that in low income housing, you should consider like requiring some kind of like um, equally distributing, you know, within the apartment units within like minorities or homeless vets, or you know, homeless or disabled, um, and you know, this is probably probably considered discrimination, like positive discrimination, um, but you know, as long as you are okay. I know that there are a lot of times when people are you take homeless people, and a lot of them have mental illness, severe mental illnesses, combined with addiction problems, and they could be harm to themselves or to others, and we don't really want that kind of population, you know, mixed with seniors, you know, senior residents. But as long as they don't have, they're not in at risk for harming themselves or others. I think that we need to, you know, mix it up a little bit. Um, we need to have people who are from the area, and you know, if you think about it, if you have an apartment in the valley and you're housing somebody from the valley, that's how you're helping the valley, right? Um, I remember we had one resident who applied for an apartment out here in the valley, and she was able to get into an apartment that was in Riverside. You know, it was a sister apartment, but in Riverside. So like she was away from her family, and luckily she drove, um, but she, you know, had to wait to get into this apartment in the valley. But that's what happens. One of the things I read today or yesterday was that after the recent homeless count, results show a decrease in homelessness in LA. Um, for people living in tents, like in like literally on the streets, or sidewalks, I should say, um, that amount has decreased by 10%, which is great, right? And I think the last time they're counting this from from 2022. Um, so it's decreased over the past 2 years. It's decreased by 10%, which is great. It could be because of our new mayor. Um, it could be because of the um, Prop HHH or whatever that was, and it could be for many different reasons. But maybe in 2022 we had a very high um, population of homeless, so decreasing that. 2022 we're also in COVID times, so um, that could have affected it too. But progress is being made, whether we feel like it or not, whether we see it or not. Um, but here is my resolution, my solution, my ideas. Yeah, I have lots of ideas. Here is my plan, what I think would work. Okay, to decrease encampments. Um, and also, to help make America, California, Los Angeles, the Valley, safe again. I mean, I know I can't save the world, um, but, hopefully by adding solutions for our communities, if it works, it'll spread and it'll just get bigger. So, who knows? But here's what we need to do. Like a couple years back, we have an airport out here, the Whiteman Airport, and the neighbors of Whiteman Airport were trying to get it closed down because of, one, the air quality, and two, well, the noise, and then three, we've been having small plane crashes in the area. So the neighbors of Whiteman Airport are trying to get it down, and of course there are people who use the airport that are, trying to keep it open. And I'm not really sure what happened to it, to be honest with you. But here was my solution for that: taking that airport. I would probably think we would like have to take out the pavement. I don't know, because I'm sure the pavement is hot. But we could use that or any unused federal government land, build solar panels, like the solar panels that they have at the parking lots. I know that they have them at the schools. Some businesses have these solar panels and people can park underneath them. Um, I don't know if they create that much shade. I mean, they probably can. But build these solar panels where, people can use the electricity from there, the energy from there. Create spaces, rent out spaces. And they don't have to be huge. I mean, they can be, I mean, really, people who are living in tents right now, homeless people, they're, I wouldn't say they're strong, but man, they can put up with a lot, okay? Um, and I think that if we give them a spot where they can call their own, they would be renting it. It's not like their land or anything, but they could rent it out for a dollar a month. Like seriously, maybe there's like a program where the longer you stay, like the more it increases. But um, you know, with this, they will have an address. So with that, they would be able to apply for funding, apply for food stamps, apply um, for welfare checks or disability checks. They'd be able to apply for all that kind of stuff if they have an address, which this would provide them with with an address. Um, then it would now. I mean, this is all in my head. This is my opinion. I don't know. I haven't talked to anybody, which is probably what we should do. But this would provide them with a sense of responsibility and dignity, and just you know, knowing that they have a place, like their own place, and they are paying for it. Um, but they, also have to be responsible for it. So, it's not like we're just giving them these places, but there also has to be some kind of requirements and rules and regulations and stuff and things that they have to follow in order to get these pieces of land for, a low amount of money a month. Um, it will be like a little town. Everyone will have a social worker, a caseworker. They will have to um, have assessments done so they can see what kind of um, you know personal care plan that they need that will help them get back on their feet. I mean, this isn't meant to be a lifelong situation. This is, transitional. Hopefully, I mean, if I weren't, I I'd like to say that there are some people who actually prefer living this way. I'm not saying that they all do, um, but I know, and I've spoken to somebody who I remember. Um, I was talking to him about, you know, living in one of the tiny homes, and he's like, "No, I don't want to live in that because it's like I have to follow these rules and stuff like that." So I think like he preferred living in the park is where I think he said he was living at the time. So everybody's different. Everybody's situation is different. But in order to have a little piece of this land, they would have to be assessed. They would have a care plan done, and then according to the care plan, they might have to, seek mental health counseling, addiction counseling, medical visits, all that kind of stuff. And all the offices will be there. There will be space for all of this there. There will be doctors, there will be dentists, there will be mental health, there will be addiction um, help. You know, whatever it is, like every person's addiction is different. So they might need different kinds of ways to get to get off of it. So, um, this will all be there. They wouldn't have to go anywhere. It would just all be there. Um, Offices would be, on sites. And this would provide opportunities for the now residents, because, even though they might be living in, their own built housing, they are going to be residents of this location. So it would give them a little sense of, having a home and belonging. And this would also provide opportunities for them to work. Somebody's got to maintain the place. Somebody's got to maintain like the restrooms, and there'll be showers, and this will give an opportunity for people to, share the opportunity in maintaining the place. So they can either do it voluntarily and like get points, or they can get paid to do it. It's kind of, there are so many different ways to go about doing that. And this would also provide a place for local businesses to be able to donate. We have many places we have food banks that could go and donate food there. They can bring truckloads of food there and deliver it, or people can come pick it up or whatever. I know that one of my ultimate goals, if when I win the lottery, will be to have a food truck that can go and bring food to homeless people or people who you know need it, and pay $1 if of course I would like to give it away for free, but sometimes people want to pay for their food. So if I charge $1 for a meal, then then and they get a full meal, like that would be awesome. That would be great. But I know there are places, local food like restaurants and stuff that they have extra food at the end of the day. They could take it over there to them, or things like that. Um, so it would be something that the local businesses would be able to combine their energy and um, their services there for the residents. Um, this is something that I think would help everyone. My This is my solution. My solution to help to take back our parks, to take back our streets, our sidewalks, and to take back our humanity. We are humans. Humans Human lives are what keeps this world going, and we all have the right to feel like a human in society. And if we can't help each other grow, I mean, what's the point? I mean, what's the point of our taxes? Why are we here? Why are we here in the United States? Why are we here in California? California, we pay so much taxes, property taxes through the roof. Um, Everything is skyrocketed right now. I mean, no wonder why people are homeless. Like, nobody can afford to live anymore. Um, but so here we are. I mean, let's take it back. Let's give everybody a right to live. Um, what do you think? Do you think this is a good solution? Do you have any other solutions? Am I just really being very naive here? Am I being, I don't know, there's always something that I'm saying that sounds like rude, can be rude to somebody else. I don't know. Um, you know, Let me know what you think. Better check out.